Hey guys, Jeff aka GCurse here. I hope you're all having a great day. I thought I would do something new. This is a new project I wanted to do. This is kind of like in conjunction with Black Site Files from Unsolved Mysteries. I thought I would do a little series based on the cases that kept me up at night. Now, when I say the cases that kept me up at night, I don't mean like necessarily mean the cases that I'm like, oh my god, I'm so scared, I can't sleep. No, not like that, not like that. A lot of people like to play ham it up. I guess you could really say ham it up and try and act like that. Unsolved Mysteries, like, oh my god, it was so scary. I couldn't sleep at night. The music was awesome. Don't get me wrong, the music was awesome. But I think people like to over exaggerate sometimes. Was there times I stayed up at night? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did. But a lot of the times that I stayed up was because sometimes, there could have been a case that made me scared, like Tallman House. I'm not gonna lie. But then there were cases that just pissed me off. And that could have kept me up at night. There could have been cases that I thought was kind of funny. And like the chair of death. The chair of death, I would stay up at night and I kind of chuckle, at it. There are cases that made me kind of think, like the Nazca lines. Or there were cases that literally made me go, what the fuck were they thinking by, airing a specific case? It's like really, so when I say that cases that kept me up all night or at night, I don't mean like literally it was just cases like, oh my god, I'm so scared. It wasn't just that. It was a wide spectrum of reasons why I would be up at night, basically. But anyway, so I figured these are going to be done in volumes. It's going to be very kind of a minimalist project that I do. But yeah, so let's get on with the first case. And wait, did I say like yeah? Each of these volumes are going to be about 5 cases. But anyway, let's get on to that first case that I'm going to be talking about. Now, before I start, I do want to say that this is not like a rankings list. Do not expect one case be above another. These are just 5 cases that came to the top of my mind that I was thinking about, and I just decided to put them in this video. Like I said, this is not a top 10 list. One case is not better than the other. It's just me talking about my memories and everything. Okay, so first off, we have a case that really just pissed me the fuck off. When I was younger, I remember seeing this case when it first aired, and I could tell right off the bat that the people were lying. And this is the case of Wendy Camp, Cynthia Brito, and Lisa Krieger. Basically, here is the quick down and dirty. Basically, Wendy, she married the man she thought she was gonna, that she's gonna live with for the rest of her life. Turned out that her husband, his name was Chad. No, he turned out to be a huge piece of shit. Well, Wendy ended up getting a bad case. I think they said it was multiple sclerosis, and it did real bad harm to her body. And Chad, being the piece of shit that he is, he decided to divorce his wife when she needed him the most. Not only did he divorce his wife, the woman who, had multiple sclerosis, but he decided to file for full custody of their child also. The guy is like a big piece of shit. He's like a big piece of shit. But before I get on to the rest of that, I actually have the case promo. So here's the case promo.
In 1992, Wendy Camp of Oklahoma City, her young daughter, and her sister-in-law vanished after being dropped off in a department store parking lot. Their mysterious disappearance was a culmination of a bitter feud between 2 families, which has now escalated to accusations of kidnapping and murder.
Okay, so back to what I was saying, though. The guy is a big piece of fucking shit. I mean, like it takes a lot for me to really hate somebody, especially on on Unsolved Mysteries, because you don't really know these people, but from what you learn, I just outright hated. Not only did I hate Chad, no, I hated his entire fucking family. I hated them all because they were all just big pieces of fucking shit. So here's the catch. So going back to what I said originally, Chad got custody of their child. Their child. I think they said his name was Joshua. I may be wrong about that, but I think it was Joshua or Jason or something like that. And when Wendy started getting better from her multiple sclerosis attack, basically she asked and asked and asked and fucking asked again, for what every mother would really want, to see their child. And Chad would be like, oh yeah, you want to see your child? You want to see yeah, come see your child. They would then move. They would then change the phone number. They would do everything possible to not basically allow Wendy to see her son. Well, Wendy, she had enough. I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. She went to court, and the judge basically told Chad, hey, motherfucker, you gotta let your ex-wife see your son. She's his mom. You gotta let the mom see her son. So one day, Chad, out of the kindness of his heart, which, I fucking laugh at, he was like, he called up and goes, you want to see your son? Yeah, come on over. I'll have I think it was his aunt or his sister or somebody. I don't know what their fucking relation was. I don't really fucking care. They're all pieces of shit. Anyway, he's like, Beverly's going to come pick you, Cynthia, and, anybody else you want, pick you guys up. And Wendy, to her credit, she was ecstatic. She got to be able to go see her son. What loving parent would not be happy to see their son? So Wendy took Cynthia Brito, which is her daughter. I think Cynthia was a daughter from her current marriage at the time. And then I think then the other person was Lisa Krieger. I'm not sure exactly. I can't recall what her relation was with Wendy. It could have been a family member or it could have been a friend. I don't recall. They went, they got into a vehicle with Beverly and they headed over to the house where Chad and Wendy's child were at. And, Wendy visited for a couple hours. Everything we hear from this point forward is all based on what the nose said. So basically what his grandmother said, all of those pieces of shit. So whatever they say, you really got to take with a grain of salt. Basically they said that Wendy didn't really interact with her son at all, and they were just really painting Wendy in a bad light. Well, time passed, the visitation passed, and Beverly was driving Wendy, Cynthia, and Lisa back to their house. According to the grandmother, Wendy was being such a bad person in the car, which I fucking laughed my ass off. I don't believe that bitch at all. I don't believe her at all. And the thing is, if you watch this case, and you can actually see this case, it's on YouTube. I will post a link to the case in the description below, so you can actually see it. The grandmother, she is a piece of shit. I remember watching this case when I was younger, and no matter how the production company of Unsolved Mysteries would have tried, they could have made her look like motherfucking Teresa. Mother Teresa. I would still not believe a damn word that she had to say. Well, anyway, so she said that Wendy was basically being a real bad person in the car. And she had Beverly drive her home and drop her off. So now, keep in mind, everything now at this point, everything is from the retelling is from Beverly's point of view, I guess, because Beverly was the only one driving Wendy, Cynthia, and Lisa home. Apparently, there was a huge hubbub in the car. Huge hubbub. I don't believe it at all, to be honest. And Beverly said she dropped them off basically at a Walmart. And then she just left. That's right. That's right. A woman who has multiple sclerosis, a child, I think the child was no older than 10, and a family friend or a sister. I don't, like I said, I don't remember what Lisa's relation was. She just dumped him off at a Walmart in the middle of nowhere, I guess. Well, Wendy, Cynthia, and Lisa, they disappeared, sadly. They disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to them. Well, then came Unsolved Mysteries, and they've interviewed all the people possible. The only two people that I can recall that was not part of the show at the case itself was Beverly and Grover, the two people in the jumpsuits. Well, Ida, she acted like such a goddamn condescending bitch. And, first, I like to go by first impressions are the most important. First impressions most important. Well, boy oh boy did she fuck that one up. After I saw this case the very first time, I had a bad feeling about the nose. I just had a bad feeling. I'm the type of person that I can look at people and really kind of decide, yeah, that person's a pretty good dude. That person, that's awesome. That lady over there, she's a fucking devil. That's kind of how it was when it came to Ida Pruitt. I watched her and I just thought for sure something happened. Surprise, surprise. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's right. Beverly and Grover Pruitt, which is Ida Pruitt. I think he's her brother. Apparently, they killed Wendy, Cynthia, and Lisa, and dumped them into, I think they said a well or a sewage or like oh god, what, I can't recall what it was called, but a septic tank, I think they said. But the thing was, like I said, I watched this case originally and I figured they did something. They did something, It was only a matter of time until the truth came out, and sadly, the truth did come out. Sadly, the Wendy, Cynthia, and Lisa, they were killed. They were killed. But yeah, so basically, they got Beverly and Grover Pruitt on murder charges, and I can't recall exactly what the sentencing was. I will cover the sentencing and all that shit when I cover this as a black site. However, the fact is that these people took 3 innocent people's lives, and I will go to my goddamn grave. I will go to my grave and say to myself and believe that Chad No and his grandmother, they knew what happened to Wendy, to Lisa, and to Cynthia. I believe that those motherfuckers knew what happened to them. The sad thing is you can't interrogate the grandmother because the bitch is dead. Chad, I wish somebody would interrogate him and get all the information possible, because I'm pretty sure that little prick knew what happened to Cynthia, to Wendy, and to Lisa after they left the house. I'll be honest, I don't even think they left the house. Cynthia, Wendy called her husband and said that she was on the way home, but I'm not sure exactly who relayed the information that it was from a payphone. I'm not sure if it was the nose, if it was Wendy herself, but I think that Wendy, Cynthia, and Lisa, I don't think that they left the house. I think they were killed at the house on the property. But yeah, so like I said, the very few cases I've watched before that, upset me, to this day, I watch this case and it fucking pisses me off. Not, because number one, people were wrongfully killed, but number two, because the fucking grandmother, she just fucking lied. She lied. She lied. That old codger, if she was alive, she could say, I didn't know. I don't know anything. If you don't believe me, then I don't believe you, you fucking old crow. I don't believe you. But yeah, so this was just one of the many cases that I can remember. Well, I don't want to say many, but these are one of the few cases, including like the Edward Bell case, where I just got upset. I got upset. On to the next case. Okay, so up next we have a case that I remember, and it was this case. This case upset me not because of what the case was about. It's because the goddamn fandom. The goddamn fandom tried to make more about this case than it actually was. This case aired towards the end of the Robert Stack era of Unsolved Mysteries. I think this may have been one of the final cases. I can't recall if it was the final case or if it was nearing the final. But still, this case, like I said, I'm upset not because of the case, but because of the fandom. And I'll talk about that right now. The case is the case of Sneha Phillip. Oh my fucking god, this case and the goddamn fandom. Okay, so basically, Sneha, she was a doctor in New York City, if I remember. I think it was New York. It's either New York or one of the boroughs or whatever they're called. She ended up disappearing. Disappearing. I think they said the night before September 11th, 2001. And I remember when this case was aired on Unsolved Mysteries, you had everybody and their fucking mother. Oh my god. Everybody going on to the internet. You got to remember, the internet was a lot different back then than it is now. You had everybody going on to any kind of fucking fan forum for Unsolved Mysteries and pushing the same motherfucking idea. So she died during 9/11. She was a hero. She tried to be a hero. They tried to spin it into a fucking conspiracy that somehow, for some goddamn reason, this broad, that she was killed to prevent her, from alerting people that 9/11 was going to happen. They tried somehow to fucking spin this case into her being like some sort of weird fucking hero. Now, when I say hero, now I'm not talking about what she was a doctor. I'm not talking about that. Literally, people actually tried to spin this case into how she was trying to prevent 9/11 from happening. But because she was trying to stop it, apparently according to these crackpots, Osama bin Laden found out that she was going to try and alert everybody, and he had her killed. It was nothing but conspiracy theories pushed by a bunch of fucking crackpots. I was about to say crackpots. I can't watch this case without remembering going online and just seeing these conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory after fucking conspiracy theory. And it drove me up the goddamn wall. Do you know she was a hero? Do you know she tried to stop Osama bin Laden? Rumor is that she was actually part of a super secret armed service task. No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. Here is the promo for the case.
A woman is listed among the hundreds of missing following the terrorist attack on the World Trade Center. She would be assumed dead if it weren't for one troubling fact. She disappeared the night before the Twin Towers collapsed.
Okay, so that was the promo for the case. It was determined later on that she was most likely at ground zero when it happened. She was trying to help save people because she was a doctor, And it's believed that she was killed during that incident. It's also believed that now this is what people don't want to fucking acknowledge. They don't want to acknowledge it, but there's a possibility. There was a video, as you saw in the promo. She was at I think it was like a clothing store, and there was a person with her. It's believed that she was having, and this is what I actually believe. I believe that she was having an affair. If she is, big deal. So what? She was. People have affairs all day. Not all day. All the time, yeah. People have affairs all the goddamn time. If she was, she was, But, yeah, and they believe that she was spending the night with her lover. And this is a theory I actually believe. She was spending the night with her lover, possibly like at a hotel or something. And when she was returning home, basically that's when 9/11 happened. And she went to try and, help people who were injured in the event, and she ended up dying. That's my theory, I'm not going to fucking get on the bandwagon and go, oh my god, she was part of some Super SEAL 6 team that was trying to secretly stop 9/11. No, she wasn't. No, she fucking wasn't. She died trying to save people, but she wasn't some goddamn superhero that your crackpot mind is trying to justify your conspiracy theories. But yeah, so the case of Sneha Phillips, like I said, I stay up and I think about these cases, and they have different, different things for me. Some I like, some I chuckle about. Some cases I just get upset, not at the case, but the fucking fandom, like this case. If it wasn't for the goddamn fandom, I don't think I'd have as much of a anger towards this case. I'd have more of a sad feeling because of the fact she died trying to save people. But like I said, every time I see this case, I instantly start thinking back to 2001 on the internet. Did you hear this? Did you hear that? She was actually doing this. No, you don't fucking know that. Stop saying that. Okay, so that was the Sneha Phillips case. Next, we have a case. I'll be honest, it kind of helped open my eyes up when I was a child. My mom, to her credit, she tried to keep me safe and everything. And when I was younger, I always thought, especially as a little child, I always thought that bad guys was what you saw in the movies. Bad guys were in the movies, bad guys are in the movies, good guys stop bad guys, happily ever after, all that shit. And after seeing this case, I really started to learn that bad guys are in the real world also. I present to you the case of Jim Burnside. Yeah, this psychopath. This piece of shit. Okay, so basically, Jim Burnside, he met a girl named Annette. When they were working at the same job. Annette was a teenager, if I remember correctly, and he worked as a butcher, if I recall correctly. Well, Jim, being significantly older than Annette, he was able to kind of manipulate her, and she ended up marrying him. She had a couple children from him, and I'm not sure how long it was after they got married, but his true colors came out. And the guy was a fucking psychopath. Here is the case promo.
When Annette Schophocker was a lonely teenager, she fell in love with a man twice her age. It was a storybook romance which ended in a flash of violence. Now the man of Annette's dreams is wanted for murder.
Okay, so yeah, the guy it wasn't just bad enough that he basically threatened to kill his wife. He actually had, like I said, he had a couple children, and he actually told his kids that he would kill them too. This guy is somebody that should not be out there with people. If anything, this guy should have been tossed in the most deepest, darkest cell in a prison and left to rot. Anyway, He basically, harassed his family to the point that one day Annette finally got the courage up and she left him. I'm not sure. I can't recall if she divorced him, but she moved out. She took the kids and they moved out. In a move that I think was stupid. I'm not going to lie. I think it was a stupid move. She actually went back to the town where he lived and she had a job. I'm not sure what the job was, but she had a job in the same town I think it was that Jim lived in. She got away from him. I don't know why she decided to go back to that town. But, we'll never know because sadly she's dead. But basically, he one day, Annette and a coworker were having lunch, and Jim found out, and he was not happy. And here is a segment.
Out of the automobile because I knew that if I didn't do something, this could be the end for Annette. He looked at me like he was just about to enjoy a large steak.
That I'm not sure if it's just me or if the actor who played Jim Burnside in that video, that actor did a good goddamn job acting like a psychopath. He acted like a psychopath, and I don't hold anything against the actor. The actor was paid to do a role, and I remember watching. I think it was a recent making of Unsolved Mysteries video that was uploaded a year or two ago. Some of the actors were so convincing that they actually had to walk around with a card that production gave them, that the production company would give them, and if they were ever pulled over by like the police or whatever, they'd have this card, and it basically said that this person was like an actor, on Unsolved Mysteries. I'm wondering if he got that card because the actor who played Jim Burnside, fucking awesome. Not awesome like, like he was very convincing. I'm not saying like him killing got people is a good thing, but the actor did a good job at his role. Well, anyway, so he shot and wounded Annette's friend. And the thing was, as you heard in that segment, I'm not sure why it is, but the way the friend talked about it, he talked about how Jim Burnside looked at him like he was just about to enjoy a steak. And it's the way it's the way he said it, that the inflections in his voice and everything. I was sitting here and I could believe that. It's like, holy shit, like, oh my God, the way he talked about it in that segment, like, wow. He looked at me like he was about to enjoy a big steak. Like, wow, But sadly, he shot, but thankfully, the friend was not killed, Poor Annette, on the other hand, here is that clip. What's there to really say? What's there to really say, like I said, this case, it really helped me realize that the world does have bad people in it. It's just not movies. It's not just movies. Sometimes the scariest people are not the people who wear hockey masks or have knife fingers. They are literally your next door neighbor. Okay, up next we have a case that, I've watched a few bullshit cases from Unsolved Mysteries. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to just sit back and deny it that Unsolved Mysteries, had a banger after a banger after a banger of cases. There were times that Unsolved Mysteries would release a case and it was so fucking stupid that it actually kind of insulted the viewers. A couple quick examples would be there was the lady who did who was supposed to have like been able to manifest gold and diamonds, like I remember seeing that case when I was younger, and even as a child I saw that case and I'm thinking, okay, that's fucking stupid. That's stupid. I didn't say fucking stupid. I just thought it was stupid, As an adult, I could say that case was fucking stupid. The producers of Unsolved Mysteries actually thought that the general public would actually believe that the gold woman who had gold coming out of her skin and everything, they actually thought the viewers would be dumb enough to believe it. Another case that they had was, those fucking like, for example, the pregnancy statues. That was another fucking stupid case. It's like, okay, you're really trying to stretch the viewers. It's one thing to have, like, say, UFOs or ghosts, because it's going to be kind of hard to really kind of, even though people believe that these things could exist, it's going to be, it's within the realm. Oh God, what's the term I'm thinking of? It's within the realm of, no, not realm of disbelief. I can't recall what the term is, but you can still believe it, even though, it may seem far-fetched. You have those kind of cases, ghosts, UFOs, suspension of disbelief. That's what it is, Then, like I said, you had the woman with gold. It's like, oh, fuck off. It's fake. It's fake. And then you had the case about the pregnancy statues that you just rubbing up your hand on it and you get pregnant. What happens if a guy rubs up on it? I don't think that they even mention that. What happens if a guy rubs the belly of one of these statues? Does the guy magically get pregnant somehow? I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. I don't really want to know. And then we had like the case of aphrodisiacs and everything. It was a Valentine's Day special. It's like, oh, get out of here. Get the fuck out of here. The case that I think that really kind of jumped the shark for Unsolved Mysteries for me is it was after I saw this case, I started to realize that they thought that we were just a bunch of fucking idiots. I present to you, ladies and gentlemen, the case of the walk-ins. The case of the walk-ins. You're wondering, Jeff, what are they walking into? Like a store? Are they going shopping? No, ladies and gentlemen. No, the walk-ins, apparently, this is a theory that apparently spirits will walk into another person's body and take them over. You have a girlfriend named Jenny? Well, she's treating you like shit now? Well, she could have been a walk-in. She's now known as Beverly. I don't buy this shit at all. I don't buy this shit at all. And the sad thing is, I honestly can't remember a damn thing from this case, except for the fact that there are people who believe that somehow spirits can just walk into my body and just take over the body. The Jeff, he's no longer there. This is Scott. But I remember seeing this case when I was younger. And I just thought that they're literally treating the viewers like fools at this point. Like I said, the suspension of disbelief wasn't shattered when it was like with UFOs and ghosts, because people actually believe those things could happen. However, okay, a woman who can manifest gold. Okay, dude, that doesn't happen. Oh, really? Okay. What about pregnancy statues? Dude, we're not fucking stupid. Okay. You're not buying the pregnancy statues. You're not buying the woman who has gold coming out of her skin. What about walk-ins? It isn't every episode, but I swear to fucking Christ that they treated the viewers sometimes like goddamn idiots. Like freaking idiots when it came to some of these cases. I'll just put a case on. They'll believe it. We'll kind of wager our fans' trust, our fans' loyalty for our show. We'll kind of wager that against walk-ins. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? But yeah, so And with the except, I didn't even go and watch the case to do a refresher when I did this video. I basically downloaded the video. Oh, speaking of that, I downloaded the video. I got the promo. Speaking of the promo, here's the promo.
It is one of the stranger stories we've encountered. People who call themselves walk-ins and claim their bodies have been inhabited, in fact taken over by invading spirits. Could it be that walk-ins
How
are
can you
walking
take
among
yourself
us?
fucking... Oh, hold on. Oh, wrong button. Hold on. Let's go back here. Let's go back. Hold on. How can you take yourself serious as a company? Hold on.
Spirits.
When you have
Could it be that
this in your video? Like I said, I watched this and I remember looking at my mom. I think this was like what? Let me check. When the heck was this? Hold on, let me check this out. When did walk-ins? I think it was like late 90s. Unsolved. See here. This case first aired on the June 14th, 1999 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. I remember sitting in, my room with my mom because at that time I was, my bedroom was the garage, which I thought was fucking cool at the time. I remember seeing that case with my mom, and I literally stood up, and she's like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out of here, which is sad because I used to sit with my mom and we would watch Unsolved Mysteries from the beginning to the end. But I saw this, and I just had to fucking just leave. I just had to leave. I could not. They made the viewers, at least for me, that case made the viewers look like we were a bunch of fools if we were going to believe it. Like, fuck off. Get out of here with that shit, Okay, finally for this video. Sorry about that. My mic was muted. I didn't realize it. Okay, finally for this video, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a case that I actually like. I like a good whodunit. And this is one of the first whodunits I can remember. And it's still a case that I always think about. And that is the case of Dale Kerstetter. Dale Kerstetter, he was a person who worked in a plant that made platinum. And basically one day he worked, I think he was working as either a repairman or a security guard. I can't recall exactly what his job title was. But he was in the factory, and then he disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to him. They checked the security camera, and they saw Dale walking around with somebody who was in like a ski mask. And people thought, first they thought that Dale could have been hurt. And because the person in the ski mask could have hurt him. So I'm not sure if it was before they saw the video or after they saw the video, but they had dogs. They had like a police team coming through and searching for Dale. They couldn't find Dale. Maybe it was before the video, but they saw the video, and then they thought, oh god, something happened. Yeah. Well, Dale's never been found. He's never been located. Towards the end of the case, they showed the video, and it showed the person in the ski mask rolling a big cart out of the factory, and on the cart there was a bag, like a big bag, and they thought some platinum was in it because platinum was missing from the factory, and they think that also that Dale could have been killed and put in the bag also, but. I tend to think that maybe Dale Kerstetter, he was actually in on it. Now check this out. Before, when Dale Kerstetter was working there, he worked himself into a position a high-ranking position. Like he was getting a lot of money and everything. I think he did his time and he earned what his pay was. Well, one day, I can't recall it. Well, let me continue. He ended up, I'm not sure what it was, but something happened and he ended up having to take a job reduction. Which also meant reduction in pay. and they think that possibly, that he may have robbed the factory of the platinum because he felt like he was wronged. Now, I can't recall exactly when this was in the timeline, but there was an incident where Dale, risked his life to save people and like the factory and everything. There was, if I remember correctly, there was like a forklift, and it was parked underneath like a molten stream of glass or metal or something. I'm guessing there was like some sort of accident. Dale got on the forklift and drove it out, and he basically saved a lot of people. He saved the factory from damage and everything. I'm not sure if that was before or after his job reduction. Here's my theory. I think that he's like, I bled, I sweated, I gave my years to this company. They are going to reduce my time, they're going to reduce my pay. I'm going to get even with them. I think he set up some sort of master plan. Where he's, I don't think he caused the accident where he saved everybody, but he saved the people to make himself look good. And then he, continued to just work while he was like a mastermind, and he set up this theft. I think he was alive, possibly inside that bag, to make it look like that, people think that he was actually dead, to get people off of his trail. Now, here's the reason why I say this. Dale's son was interviewed for this case. And I think he was smiling or something, but he had an aura like he knew more than what he was saying. And he said something along the lines, if I remember correctly, like, well, when the statute of limitations is over, he could come back, And I can't help but think that possibly the son knows more than he's actually leading on, But to this day, Dale Kerstetter has never been located. He could have been killed. He may have been killed for all we know. But I still think this guy who gave all of his time to this company, endless hours of work, loyalty to the job and everything, they did him dirty. I'm pretty sure that he's like, these guys did this to me, I'm going to take everything I can. But yeah, so that's my theory. But this is actually one of the cases I don't want to say few because I love law cases. This is one of the cases I really love. It's like a whodunit. This is legitimately a whodunit. Is Dale alive? Is he dead? Did he actually steal the platinum? Did he not steal the platinum? Was he a victim? Was he a perpetrator? It's like an onion. There's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer with the Dale Kerstetter case, and that's why I love this case. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, everybody, but that is it. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has taken the time to watch this very first volume of Unsolved Mysteries, cases that kept me up at night. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this name because it was just I think the name was like a placeholder. I'm not sure, but I just want to give you my thoughts when it came to the various cases. I wanted to share my memories about. We started off with the case of Wendy Camp, which pissed me off. We had the case of Sneha Phillips, which pissed me off for a whole different reason. Whereas the Wendy Camp case pissed me off because of the fact that she was brutally murdered. The Sneha Phillips case pissed me off because of the idiot fandom, basically. They had to make a conspiracy out of something that wasn't there. After that, we had the Jim Burnside case, which really just opened my eyes up to how violent people can be. After that, we had one of the stupidest cases I've ever seen, which was the Watkins case. You're wanting me to believe that a woman could piss gold, basically. You're wanting me, okay, fine, whatever, sure thing. You're wanting me to believe that statues can get people pregnant. Okay, yeah, rub. Okay. You're wanting me to believe that spirits. Okay, my name is Matt. Okay, never mind. You're wanting me to believe that people are now, their spirits are now taking over everybody. Oh my God, I am not falling for this. My suspension of disbelief has been totally shattered when it came to this case. I do not believe it. And then finally, we end off with my favorite case, one of my favorite cases of Dale Kerstetter. I think this guy's a mastermind, if you ask me. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say thank you for watching this video. As always, if you like what you watch, feel free to click that like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Wish you all a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.